Hello, welcome to Chisholm Prism. My name is Taylor Chisholm, and today in this video, I'm going to share with you my story of why, how, things that led up to me leaving my 9-to-5 job, and some of the things that I've learned from this experience, taking this leap. Something that definitely helped me in my decision leading up to this was watching people tell their stories online. If you were watching, you're probably either thinking of leaving your 9-to-5 job, you're going through your head of what the scenario would look like. I hope that you get a lot out of this. So yeah, this is my story. It's been 1 month since I left my 9-to-5 job, and I'm here today as living proof of taking that leap from that corporate life setting and moving into a new path, even if it's not as clear or defined. I'm gonna leave some timestamps in this video too, if that helps you get what you need most out of this video. So this has definitely been a journey, as life is a journey of ups and downs, right? But in this bigger decision for myself, it came with a lead up of a lot of frustration, burnout, feeling a lack of advancement or appreciation, which I will get into. But a little background about what I was even doing. I was actually a designer at a digital marketing agency. I started off there doing branding, but then also UI UX design, primarily UI. I was working with many different clients throughout the 4 years that I was working there. Just about 4 years. I was close to hitting that number, but throughout my time there, I would say it was ups and downs. It wasn't always bad. I think when I initially started working there, it was my first corporate job out of college. So I graduated in 2020 during COVID. If you graduated during 2020, honestly, you're a rock star. Like, that's a generation of graduates that was just kind of shoved under the bus because, of course, the pandemic was absolutely nuts. And after I graduated, I was kind of floating around during the summer, and I got this position the fall of 2020. And the only reason I got this position actually was because I did a career fair through my college during the winter of 2020, if that makes sense. So it was like months went by, and then they reached out to me during the fall. I think they had positions opened. In my mind, when I graduated with graphic design degree, I didn't really have an exact place I wanted to be in my mind, but I knew I just kind of was going down that pathway of like, you go to college, you're gonna get a corporate job, and you're gonna make money, and then you're just gonna do this job until you're old, and then you're gonna retire, and it's gonna be great. And in my head, I was like, okay, that's what everyone's saying, I'm gonna follow this path. And that was where my mind was. When I got the job, I was excited to take it. I will say I was very privileged and lucky to even get that kind of situation, because I know a lot of people having a hard time finding jobs, especially straight out of college or getting laid off because of COVID and things going remote. And since that, it was a remote position, which was great. And when I started off, I was excited. And then as you kind of go through working in corporate, you start realizing things. Like, it definitely started to feel more and more like The Office show. Like, I would watch that during college and be like, oh, this is so funny. But when you're actually in an office corporate environment, you relate a lot more to a show like that. The town halls and the whole jargon of it was interesting. But when it came down to the work itself, I was actually doing a really great job, and that kind of led me further and further down that path. Eventually in my company, they had like tier systems of getting higher and higher up, and once you reached a certain level, you would be like a mentor, and it kept leading to this more leadership role. But the weird thing is, I was getting a lot of praise and working on a lot of great client work throughout my time there, but I only leveled up once. So this started to become a red flag for me. From the times being there, I didn't want to climb a ladder. I felt like even if I was climbing a ladder, where am I going to? And for how long am I doing this? and to serve what purpose? I didn't feel like I was being valued or doing anything that was meaningful to me, and that was really draining. I was also in a situation where I was being micromanaged, and as a creative, like being micromanaged and constantly being critiqued and tweaked, and so many people have an opinion on the concept of this, even like it just became a lot, and that led up to constant burnout. Yeah, it definitely started to feel more like a rat race. When I actually did get my 2 weeks, my manager did reach out and really wanted me to stay, but I had nothing left to give to this company and I had to go. So I served my 2 weeks. It was very strange because I was training so many people of the job that I was doing single-handedly, and I was gone. It was just another cog in the machine. I'm also going to link a video down below in this video that really helped me and kind of wrapped up all that I was feeling in one documentary. And it's actually from DW Documentaries, that channel on YouTube. If you have the time, I know it's like an hour long, I would recommend watching that video. It is so detailed and so spot on, and really speaks to how also I was feeling that this corporate lifestyle that society has constructed for us is just not in line of the human modern needs that we have nowadays. They describe corporate life as almost being a play, like people are puppeteers or acting a certain way. Like it feels like there's a facade that everyone carries and that you have to carry. I remember act like I'm always happy and smiling and everything's going great. Someone asks you, how are you? You gotta say, oh, I'm doing great. How's the weather there? The weather here is, it's rainy, it's snowing, blah, 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 blah. It's like very surface level all the time. And I feel like there's a lack of almost the human psychology of how we operate. The documentary mentions how it's almost like a chronic stress, like we're constantly in these sprint momentum moments without any break. And it's really like, it's very mental. It's a mental thing of frustration and burnout that kind of leads up. In schooling, I think they also don't really prioritize like self-development or being creative and exploring and asking questions and building community and conversation and being just like experimenting. I feel like that's the great thing about being a human, is you have this brain where you can ask questions and invent and be almost your own philosopher of self-discovery. And I feel like corporate world pushes that down and smothers it, and I think that's brings on frustration for many people. Also bringing up the point how it's like an industry machine where it's less about the people who are working for the company. It becomes more about maximizing the shareholder value than it becomes about the people. And it's dehumanizing and very like industrious, like factory, get this stuff done. My heart goes out to people who are also working in person. I'm sure that's even more of a grind, even physically, to that. I mean, I've always questioned the whole salary 9 to 5, 40 hours a week plus. I think that's so weird. I don't think all that time is even needed to get the task done. A lot of it's filler. It's like, again, a play, a facade that we're all like pretending to do that. And I personally rather I get paid for the time and the labor, the work that I put in to the designs that it make, like freelancing, contracting. These are the things that are more in my head. And honestly, gig work, I think, get the people who want it the chance to work as more of a gig employee than the salary-based structure, because I don't think that is sustainable for our future. We want our time back. We want our time back, and we want to get paid fairly. I think we're all screaming that as a society, and it's so frustrating. I feel like the ball is moving so slowly, and COVID kicked it a bit, but it's still like dragging in the sand. Have you seen there's so many memes out on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube of like people making fun of corporate. They're making fun of our job industry because it sucks. That all being said, I do think everybody who's interested should work a corporate job or work for someone. Like 2 years, I think is good. Even if you hop from a different job, 2 to 3 years, I like work for someone else. I think it's very valuable. I learned a lot from that experience, and those are skills that I can hold on to for the rest of my life. And I'd say in the time that you're working there, be intentional. Like, you might find your pathway within that company, or find even what you like, what you don't like. Try to be in the meetings that you can and try to gather their knowledge. Make some friendships if you can, or some references. Even just study the company. How does the business work? Like, what's going on in here? It even teaches you like communication skills, working with others. Like, these are some things that are really valuable. I'm not on here to just poop on corporate life and that kind of industry. And I definitely don't regret my time working there at all. I'd also say, like, while you're there, save as much as you can, pay off your debts as much as you can, and invest if you have the ability. Like, something that I regretted in like the first 2 years I was there, I wasn't really financially like thinking about all that. I didn't really care. And then in the last like 2 years, I was like, I gotta get out of here. Let me actually put some money aside. Let me think about my future. Get your finances together. Get them together, because you'll be so grateful for your past self if you think about your future self. Trust me. Okay. I know you're thinking, you're like, Taylor, shut up. You're like talking about all this other stuff. Just to get down into my transition. For me, I wanted to get very close to 1 year of savings, just in case, as a backup of I don't get another job or I don't figure anything out for a while. And in your time of doing this, of quitting your job, you want not to feel stressed and pressured just to jump in something else that you hate and you don't want to be in. I also took time to focus on reducing my lifestyle. I don't live in a super expensive apartment. Try to reduce my spending. I don't have a car. I don't have a lot of responsibilities. And that has definitely helped bring me a sane mind when it comes to leaving my job. I live in Chicago, and it's a city that just it keeps going up in price. And definitely budgeting is key to live in a city. Pretty critical in my situation. I am a designer, graphic designer, web designer, that kind of thing. And I definitely wanted to archive my stuff that I've done for this company. So I had to update my portfolio website. Wanted it to be more clean, polished, so I made sure to archive all of my projects that I was able to into my own site. So I have that. Definitely, if you're creative, I recommend getting a website. You need a website. I wish this was sponsored by Squarespace. It's not. Or Wix. I use Wix. I like Wix more, but I see so many Squarespace ads. But definitely, get a website. If you don't have a website, you should make a website. It's just nice to kind of have your own space. It's your own room on the internet. Before I even quit, I have been doing a couple of freelance things here and there. And also mentally in this transition, I think that was like a big part that isn't as obvious, is mentally getting myself in the mind space of where am I going? What do I enjoy? Because in this process, I didn't have a backup plan, not fully fleshed out a backup plan. I didn't have a job lined up. I was just kind of like, I just don't want to be in the situation and I want to figure something else out. And I think the way things are structured in society is like you're not allowed to take a break and just kind of figure your stuff out. You're in a 9-to-5, 40 hours a week plus. You're constantly doing this grind. If you don't got a job, what's wrong with you? I mean, yeah, it's a part of what I do in my day-to-day, but I also have hobbies. I also have other things in my life that I enjoy. And it's like, I think that's such a cliche thing. But mentally for me, it was kind of breaking down that work isn't bad. I do like working. I just want to work towards something that is meaningful to me. My happiness and my time was most important of all of this. Something that might also help you in this journey is just thinking in the mind frame of you're not running away from something, but more towards you're running towards something. You're running towards a goal for yourself, a new lifestyle, a change. And change is where you develop yourself, you shift your perspective, and that's totally healthy and natural. And so in this month that I have been out of the workspace, I've kind of been up and down mentally, I'll be honest. I set myself a schedule of like what I can be doing throughout the day, because a part of my exploration of change was digging more into my creative side and following my passions of painting, of crafts, of YouTube. I don't make any money from YouTube at this point, and I'm not going to be making anything that will cover my living expenses for a while, I'm sure, but I just do this because I enjoy sharing and connecting with you guys on the internet and documenting my life almost in a way. And I want to keep putting my time into this. I want to put my time into my art. I want to put my time into freelancing and helping out small businesses develop their website or their branding. I'm definitely wanting to explore these other markets. So that's where a lot of my time has been outside of having my 9 to 5. So I've been trying to structure my day in that way. It's nice not to be sitting inside of my house on my desk all the time, because when I had my job, I was remote, so I didn't have to go anywhere, and it was just, I felt like I was stuck, frankly. But on a more personal note, I'll say I have experienced some self-doubt and some worry and just like, can I even make it? Like, what am I doing? I left a lot of my security that I had, and I'm trying something new, and like the unknown I get is scary. You're unsure. You're kind of like, honestly, that is the feeling that comes over me sometimes. And then not having in my mind like that corporate hustle mentality to like not beat myself up if I slept in a little bit, or if I don't know, went to bed late and like I didn't do the task that I told myself I would do. That took a while to kind of get over, and I'm still not completely over it. I don't know if I'll ever will be. I gotta be more patient and gentle with myself. I might not be working right now, but it's an investment almost in yourself, in myself, of I'm gonna use this time and explore other avenues. I'm gonna learn a new skill. I'm gonna try out a new technique, a new project. I just like generosity to yourself, I think, is a big part of the experience. And then you think to yourself too, like, what's the worst that can happen? If you set yourself up for success, a lot of this for me is also pointing in the direction that I want to be in my life. And I definitely am trying to lean in another avenue. So like treating my passions as more as my full-time situation, my full-time gig. And that's what I want to do until it becomes my reality. You gotta live to be a little delusional. Sometimes being delusional is the pathway to success. So, so in my situation, I did already have a skill set. As I went to college for graphic design, I have experience. I've worked in a corporate setting. Not that I want to go back, and in my worst case scenario, if all fails, I just go back to that kind of environment, maybe do it all again, and when I save up more money. the worst that can happen is that it just doesn't work out, but at least you tried, and at least I tried. Getting a part-time job also is a great option out of a transition from corporate. For me, I didn't remember, but I applied to a part-time position many months ago, and they actually reached back out to me recently, and I got a part-time freelance gig for about like 15 hours to 25 hours a week, which is great. I'm gonna be starting in a week from now, and that will give me, it won't cover all of my expenses, but it will cover a good amount of them. But I'll also have a lot more time back to myself than I did at my previous job, so I can work on my crafts, work on my own business, work on my own journey, my own self, and have my time back, and not be so bogged down by the system, by the man holding you down. Part-time is also a really great option, because sometimes your change is getting a simpler job. Simplifying your life can make a big difference in how you feel, and maybe your life will, in a simpler kind of setting, will be more gratifying for you. So that's my story. That's my experience leaving my job and where I'm at right now. I hope this was helpful for you if you're thinking about doing this. I mean, definitely it's gonna work out. Things are gonna work out, and they're gonna be fine. So if you want to make this journey, go do it. If you're feeling it in your heart, just set yourself up for success, and you're gonna be great. My experience has definitely been a roller coaster, but I'm honestly so much happier. I wake up every day and I'm excited to grow, to try new things, to learn, to explore, and mentally I'm just lifted. So I mean, yeah. Do what's best for you. Thank you for watching. If you stayed this long, I appreciate it, and it helps the channel. Give a like and subscribe down below. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.